Everybody that has come around to understand that diet is essential and critical to health has come across words acid and alkaline. And we use that word a lot, and what does it really mean, and in what way does it benefit us, you know. So that's kind of what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about voltage. I think it's a really interesting concept, and I've just recently come to learn about it, and I think it answers, it's kind of the missing link of what we've been doing. So the problem is, as you all know, 1 out of 2 men will get cancer in their lifetime. And about 1 out of 2.7 women will get cancer in their lifetime. So it's reached such epidemic proportions that if you don't have it, you know someone that does have it. You know. I want to erase one myth, and that myth is that it's not hereditary. Very small percentages of medical conditions are hereditary. And the one, like, I'm Italian, so what runs in my family? Diabetes, strokes, heart attacks. But what really runs in my family is eating pasta and sausages. So if I don't do that, I'm not going to get diabetes. And because just as you don't walk down the street and catch health, neither do you walk down the street and catch disease. You earn it. You know, so we have to understand that. So you can earn either. So, important concept. When the body stops working, when you're having a problem, when a cell becomes defective, there are a few mechanisms that we have to repair the cell. But that's it. The body doesn't spend too much energy trying to repair. It gets rid of it through a process known as apoptosis, which is programmed cellular death. Gets rid of the cell and builds a new cell. And so that's how the body regenerates, that's how the body heals, that's how the body renews. It does it through building new cells, not from trying to get old, worn-out cells to work. Okay? And so, for that reason, every 8 months we have a new body. We're always building new cells. So if you have cancer now, and you had cancer 8 months ago, it's because you're continuing to build it. If you had diabetes 8 months ago and now, you're building. Every cell is built. As you know, skin is 6 weeks. We get a new liver about every 6 months. The lining of our colon is replaced every 3 days if we're healthy. You know, so in order to build new healthy cells, we have to have certain things: oxygen, water with voltage, which is alkaline. There's a lot of water systems out there, and all they're really trying to do is put some minerals in it, because the minerals will alkalinize it, and we'll talk more about alkalinity. Fats, which are membranes. We need fats to make membranes. Every cell in our body has a membrane, and that membrane is the skin. But it's much more than that. If you were to view a cell, you'd see it as this little incredible sphere with hundreds of thousands of little antennae sticking out of it. And inside of it, you would see all kinds of incredible I guess I'm going to use a mechanical analogy, but like equipment. And really what you're looking at is a colloidal matrix inside the cell, and there's a colloidal matrix outside the cell. And the control of the cell is really the membrane. We used to think it was the DNA, and we now know that the DNA is just a place that receives information from the environment. And so the DNA that you were born with is not the DNA you have today, which is why you can have identical twins who come from the same exact sperm and egg, who you look at them at the age of 30 and they're really different. Their fingerprints are different. Okay, so DNA changes according to the environment. This is pretty, hopefully it's being taught in medical schools, but I doubt it. So you have the proteins inside the cell with the cytoplasm, which is the cytoplasm. Cytoplasm is just a word for the stuff inside cells. Vitamins, which allow the body to make fats and proteins. Minerals, to make fats and proteins work. They're also the on and off switches, and they also help keep your pH in check. Oxygen twice, because it's pretty important. Sunshine, and then voltage. Voltage is what the Chinese refer to as qi. I guess I have to be here so I can... Okay. If you say that, if you talk about the body as being electric or requiring voltage to most physicians and to most people, they'll think that you're a little bit strange. And yet, if I want to find out if your heart's working correctly, I'll do an EKG, which is how we measure the electrical activity of the heart. In the ICU, if we want to find out if the person's dead or not, we do an EEG, and we look at the brain waves. Okay? When that electrical activity has stopped, then we can legally say the person's dead. Okay, well, if you just apply that same concept to every cell in the body, you'll understand it. Galvanic skin responses, which they do with lie detector tests. Okay, so anyway, the body repairing itself. Just real briefly, so you can get an idea. Rosin cones every 48 hours replace themselves. Skin, 6 weeks. Liver, about 6 months. Colonocytes, the cells in our colon, about 3 days. And the brain, I don't know. Even heroin addicts don't have drug deficiencies. Okay. There are no pharmaceuticals that can substitute for the essential products needed to build a good cell. They can buy time, though. And in our practice, we do use drugs carefully, very low doses. And when we're treating cancer in stage 3 and 4, we use insulin first to open the cell membrane, and then we can give a small amount of chemo so that about 80% of what we give goes directly into the cancer cell and not to the brain and not to the heart and not to the immune system. So the 20% that doesn't go to the cancer cell is 20% of 10% dose. And 20% of 10% is 2%. So the toxicity associated with that kind of therapy is 2% of normal. So we do that basically to chemically debulk really serious cancers, because people do have really serious cancer. However, there are actually other ways, and I hope to get to that. There are other ways of doing the same thing, accomplishing the same thing. Yes?
What happens to that 2%?
Well, it'll accumulate.